Namaste viewers, welcome to Gnanadevula channel. Today we'll go through the meaning of the 27th Sutra of Kaivalya Pada from Patanjali Yoga Sutra. The sutra is Tachchhidresu pratyaya-antarāṇi samskārebhyaḥ. Tachchhidresu pratyaya-antarāṇi samskārebhyaḥ. This is the sutra. Now, the word to word meaning will be something like this. Tachchhidresu. That means in the gaps, in the breaches of awareness or discrimination, pratyaya, thought pattern, idea or mental cognition, pratyaya-antarāṇi, others alternative ones, samskārebhyaḥ, from the deep unconscious impressions, habits, mental residues, they come up. So the translation for this would be, in between there are gaps, or wherever there are some breach of that high discrimination, some lacuna in high discrimination, somewhere some breach happens, other thoughts or mental impressions emerge from the storehouse of latent impressions, that is samskaras. The samskaras which are there, previous samskaras, it erupts. So let's try to understand in simple words. It speaks of a yogi who has reached a high state of wisdom and clarity. Now the yogi he has reached a very high state of wisdom, very high state of clarity. He is called as a viveka khyati. He is well versed with the discriminative knowledge between the self and not self. But even for him, there can still be moments of lapse or distraction. This is the sutra which tells this. So, in those gaps, or wherever there is some breach, or wherever there is some lacuna of awareness, old mental patterns or emotions or thoughts, it can erupt, it can come again from deep within the subconscious mind, from what are called as samskaras. They are called as samskaras. These samskaras are the impressions from the past expression, past experiences, past emotions or past whatever, which are stored, habits or lives, or from previous lives also, or habits. Those things which are stored as samskaras, when you are not vigilant, or when there is some gap, or when there is a break of awareness, this can erupt. This is the meaning. Some kind of a comparison is, imagine you have cleaned a pond and made the water crystal clear, but suddenly a gust of wind stirs the mud from the bottom. Even though it was clean a moment ago, the water becomes muddy again. Similarly, the mind may become momentarily clouded. Momentarily it could be hijacked, even after great spiritual progress also. So this is the sutra is talking about this sudden eruption of. That is why there were a lot of sannyasis, there were a lot of saints like Durvasa, Vishwamitra. So many people, they were there. They knew all these things, but still, because of these samskaras previous samskaras, previous birth samskaras or the other things, at a moment, at some moments, that would overtake and then they would erupt. That is why Durvasa was very angry sometimes. Vishwamitra, he was, this is the condition of us. This is what the sutra is trying to tell. So, real life example would be, suppose someone has been practicing mindfulness and inner detachment for years. Like our great saints. I told you the example of Durvasa, Vishwamitra, Kaushiki, all many great saints, many great sannyasis. They were calm. They feel calm. They were aware. They were deeply centered. All those things were there. But one day, someone insults them unexpectedly. Something happens. The anger flares up. So, this sutra is trying to tell from where did this come from? Where did this anger flare up? Where did this aberration, where this abnormality came? So, it says it came from a samskara. The samskara is an old stored impression. It triggered during this moment, a moment when their discrimination was off guard. If they were on guard, they would suppress it, they would ensure that that would not erupt again. But all the time, they cannot be on guard. Some moment, somewhere, some situation arises where they were off guard and this erupted. So, Patanjali says this is not a failure, it is just a natural process, he says. So, what this sutra is trying to tell is, each advanced yogis are also not immune to subconscious tendencies. There is some subconscious tendencies which erupts. Old thoughts may return, especially during the gaps in awareness. When you have some small gap in the awareness, you are just, it could be time gap, it could be gap in understanding, it could be gap in your, you would have not been guarding, you are not careful there. So, this gap is the place where old thoughts can return. So, Patanjali says these are residual habits that need to be observed and dissolved. These are certain things which everyone will have to keep on observing it and then get it removed. Awareness must be continuously refreshed with patience and vigilance. So, this has connection to other sutras also. In Sutra 130, Patanjali listed obstacles like doubt, laziness, distraction, procrastination, all those things he has said. This sutra shows that even after overcoming those, there are hidden impressions, there are samskaras that can still surface, especially in the subtle and advanced stages. Now, if you have to look at the scientific and psychological angle, modern neuroscience speaks of neural pathways and conditioning. Just like muscle memory, emotional and behavioral patterns are wired in our brains due to repetitive aspects. Unless completely dissolved, this can resurface under stress or distraction, exactly like what Patanjali said centuries ago. So, some of the keywords here are Tachchhidresu, that means in the gaps. Chhidresu means wherever there are some breaks. Breaks means wherever there is gaps, breaches of awareness or discrimination, time gap, a lot of things, they are there. Pratyaya, thought pattern, idea, mental cognition. Antarāṇi, other alternative ones also. Samskārebhyaḥ, from the deep and unconscious impressions, habits, mental residues, they flare up, they come up. So the important takeaway here is Progress on the spiritual path is not always a straight line. Even temporary lapses, there will be temporary lapses. That is, it is like this only. Graph, it goes up, comes down like this. Even temporary lapses are not failures. You have to take them as chances to observe, you have to take them as chances to learn, and you have to take them as chances to purify deeper levels of the mind. As long as the will to return to clarity remains strong, the yogi is always moving forward. We are with these thoughts on this Sutra 27, I think, 27 Sutra, that is Tachchhidresu pratyaya-antarāṇi samskārebhyaḥ. We will conclude this episode. I hope this was quite interesting and informative. Please go through the video completely. Post your comments in the comment box. For the benefit of the readers, put all whatever that we have tried to discuss here, we put it in the description box so that one can read and then contemplate on that. Thank you, viewers.